How's everybody doing? It is the night before 2015. Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's been, what an amazing year. I am truly grateful. We always start out with gratitude on this webinar. So gratitude for this year, an amazing year. I am truly grateful. I had an amazing summer. I was in Tokyo for the summer. As many of you know, or many of you don't know, I am a jazz singer, and I've been singing professionally for a long time, over 30 years. And I'm very, very blessed because I get to travel the world and I get to go to Asia a lot. And in fact, I will be broadcasting from Korea in about a month. So at any rate, let's get straight to the gratitude. Okay, gratitude for Tokyo and having an amazing experience there this summer. Gratitude for my partner who is there for me and who is my best friend and who really just is just an amazing part of my life. Gratitude for my bank account this year and all of the money that I was able to receive in my universe. And how does it get any better than that? I always ask questions. So if you hear me saying, how does it get any better than that? It's because I would like things to continually get better. If you say, God, how does it get any worse than that? Guess what? Things are going to get worse because God is listening. Okay, I digress. Number 4, let's see. I am truly grateful for my 10% account. That's where I have put away 10% of everything that I make, no matter where it comes from. It goes into a 10% count. I'm truly grateful for that. And what else am I grateful for? I am grateful for being free and clear of gallstone pain. I had a really bad, I'm not going to say really bad because it was a growing experience and I learned a lot about my body and I learned a lot about gallstones. So if you have any questions about gallstones, write to me. If you'd like to join our private group, my weekly Yummy Money webinar, you can write to me at kajwords@yahoo.com or Karen at pointofme.com. Karen at pointofme.com. Of course, that's a play on words. And there you have it. So if you have not created your list of things to be grateful for, then you need to do that. And you need to do it every day. And why is that? Because you need to acknowledge what you do have. You need to acknowledge the magic that you have created. You need to acknowledge your world, your environment, because what the thing is, what we have a tendency to do in the matrix, I'm trying to separate the matrix from what your reality can be, okay? What that magical world that you are can be. And you can't do that if you continue to just agree with everything that the matrix tells you you're supposed to be and do, okay? So the matrix is very like everything's wrong, and they look at everything that's wrong, and that's wrong, and this is wrong, and oh my God, did you see this? And it's one big drama trip after another. Now, a lot of you kind of enjoy the drama, and that's okay too, but just recognize that you are doing drama. And just like when Neo was unplugged from the matrix, it is kind of a bit of a shock. So I am slowly but surely going to unplug you from the matrix and get you to see that you are the creator of that program that is in your head. You are the creator of your point of view and no one else. When you can truly embrace that, then you can start to change your world and change your point of view. So, Karen, how do you change your point of view? How do you do that? And it's like, how do you change your point of view? You change your mind. And a lot of that is done by changing your habits. Now, as we embark on a new year, the new year is always a great time of year because everybody is tuned into what they'd like to change, what they'd like to create. And of course, this is a money webinar, but basically money just gives you more choices, more possibilities, right? So in creating this webinar, it's to start to get you to move that energy around what you would like your life to look like. Like when you're in your 20s, you have an idea of maybe of where you'd like to go, or maybe you're not sure at all. When you're in your 30s, maybe you've already chosen pretty much what you'd like to do, and you're pretty much on course with that. When you're in your 40s, you are in that and still maybe growing that, and unless of course you're veering off and you want to do something else because you've decided that what you wanted to do in your 30s you don't want to do anymore. And then when you get into your 50s, maybe you're at a different turning point in your life, similar to myself, where you're like, okay, so what else is possible? I mean, I have been singing for a long time, grateful, love to sing. I will sing till the day I die. But the point is, what else is possible for me? I mean, I have so many different facets of myself, so many different skills and abilities. And that's one of the questions I asked you guys last week. What skills, talents, and abilities do you have that you could make you a lot of money? And if you haven't, if you don't value your skills, if you think, oh, I just, it's easy for me, that comes easy for me, that's what you should be looking at. And maybe developing that and expanding it and really stepping out there and say, okay, I've got this ability. How can I share this with the world? What contribution can I be to the world with this gift, with this skill, with this ability that I have? And if there are things that you'd like to explore, things that you've always been interested in, but you've never stepped into, now is the time to say, okay, I'm going to do it. Now, how do you do that? How do you create that? How do you change your point of view? How do you change your mind? Well, it starts with just choosing it. And it really is that simple. You have to choose it. Okay, if you choose it, okay, I've chosen that. What do I need to do? Well, that's when you start to have to create your habits. That's when your habits have to kick in. You have to start to create new habits. There's a book called 10 Times something. I can't remember the name of the book. I'm gonna remember it though. I'm gonna look for it, and I'll remember it for the next webinar. But it's, if you just look up changing your habits on Google, there are many books around how to change your habits. Yes, reading a book, what a concept. Or getting a YouTube video. There's so many YouTube videos now that people make, just like I'm making right now, to invoke you to pursue your desires and your dreams, okay? So yes, that's what I wanted to start out with today. I would like to jump right into the book because I have some other things I wanted to share with you today. And the book is, what this webinar was entitled today is enter the new year without saying I can't afford it. Exactly. How crazy is that? You can afford anything. You can just put it away on terminal layaway, as Gary Douglas says, and you can do it. Now, once again, we are reading from the book Money Isn't the Problem, You Are by Gary Douglas. It is Gary Douglas and Dane here. Sorry, Dane. Great book. I started this book over 12 years ago, and not 12 years ago, I think it was more like 10 years ago. And ever since I started that book, and I've been studying Access Consciousness, accessconsciousness.com, by the way. I've been studying this. It's really changed my life. Magically, I quadrupled my income. So don't do that. You don't want to do anything like that because you don't want to make that much money, right? Hop into it. Okay, let's jump into it. I can't afford it. Okay, excuse me, I have to take off my glasses. Can't see where the dime. Anyway, podpoc that. So have you ever told yourself I can't afford this? Years ago, I was working with at an antique shop, rearranging furniture for them. They hired me because every time I rearranged things, something they had in stock for 2 years would sell. They'd have me come in and do a rearrangement about every 2 weeks. I was making $37.50 an hour, which was pretty good money at that time. I was doing that along with everything else I could to support my kids and my wife. The shop owners were so happy with what I was doing. They said, you know what? Anything you want to buy at the store, we'll give it to you at our cost, and you can put it on terminal layaway. You can have it whenever you get it paid off. Just keep working for us. Now, this was not a big shop. This was a place that had $20,000 bedroom sets. Wow. They had diamond rings that were $35,000. I'd look at them and go, who can afford this stuff? After they said to me, I looked around the shop and suddenly I realized I could have anything in it. It's what we think we can't have that becomes valuable. Get that? Anything valuable is because we think we can't have it. Very important thing to recognize here. Once I recognized that I could afford anything I wanted, it might take me a while to take it home, but I could afford to have anything in there. I realized none of it mattered to me. Isn't that funny? I didn't care anymore. It's what we think we can't afford or what we think we can't have that becomes valuable. It becomes valuable not because it has true value, but because we can't have it. We make the scarcity the significance. It's like living in lack. That attitude of lack creates the significance in your life and makes it even bigger than what it truly is. So every time you say, I can't afford it, you're saying you're not worth it. I can't afford it means I can't have it. How many times have you decided you couldn't afford an item and settled for something that was less than what you wish to have? Now, everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, the reason that's our little magic phrase, I ask the question, I do the clearing statement so that the magic wand takes it out of your universe. Now, does it work? I don't know. You tell me. I know it works. All right. So you can afford anything. Almost any shop in the world will do layaway for you. Dane and I recently went into a pawn shop. They had a sign, layaway now. The whole idea was you could go into the shop. They had stuff in there for up to $20,000, and they would let you put anything on layaway. If you put it on time payments, you could have anything in there. But the question is, do you really want it? What would I really like to have? Practice this on your own. Go into a store and walk around saying, okay, I can have anything in here I truly desire. What would I really like to have? You'll look at things and say, no, no, that's nice, that's nice. And you walk out saying, you know what? There's nothing in there I would truly like to have. I'm going to have this in my life. If you do find something you'd like to have, say, I'm going to have this in my life, and walk out without looking at the price tag. Why don't you look at the price tag? Because if you do, you're creating a limitation about what it's going to cost and how you can't afford it. If you don't look at the price tag and you just say, I'm going to have this in my life, then you can create an opportunity for the universe to drop it into your lap in some way you never imagined possible, at a price you're willing to pay. Recently, my daughter said, I'd like to have a Gucci wallet, Dad. They're $250. I said, okay, that's good. We'll see what can happen. Now, 3 weeks later, I stopped at a garage sale for no apparent reason, and there was a Gucci wallet for sale. It was $3. I assumed it had to be a knockoff and took it home. Turns out it was the real thing. Okay, people, I'm going to have this in my life. Don't look at the price tag. It's what you think that you can't have that becomes valuable. Because you say, I can't have it, I can't afford it, means I can't have it, which is insane. If you really, 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 and if you look at your life and you look at the various times in your life, you'll notice that you have the things that you've really, really wanted, somehow, in some way, you were able to get it. Maybe not right away, but even over a period of time. It wasn't too long ago that I got to my New Year's resolution, and I chose I was going to lose weight. Now, there are three things that people, more than anything else, at the beginning of the year, this is what they focus on for their New Year's resolutions. True love, more money, and losing weight. Now, the losing weight thing I went through last year. I guess it was last year, or maybe it was the year before that. At any rate, I lost about 70 pounds. Woohoo! I did it. And how did I do it? I chose it. And I went through a series of different diets and different lifestyles of eating, and I finally found something that clicked with my body. And I also exercised. I made a point to dedicate time to my body, because your body is your temple, people. If you don't take care of your body, it will not take care of you. So I started to become more and more aware of my body. There's actually a great book by Dane here about the body. If you go on to Access Consciousness, actually, if you go onto my website and you go to the main menu under More, there's Access Shopping, and it'll take you directly to the website. You do not have to go looking for it. You can go straight into my pointofview.com. That's point of view, Y-O-U. And that book really is like the manual you should have been given when you were born. I think that's the title. To create rapport, to have a better relationship with your body, and to know what it is that your body's always talking to you. It's always telling you what it requires. Like, for example, I'm wearing this lovely sweater when I was in Hong Kong. I was looking for cashmere, and I was looking for it at a price that I thought was a good price. And it was such a good price, I think I bought 3. Orange and pink, beautiful pink. And when I put them on, my body was like, oh. And even now, the warmth that I'm getting from this sweater is much greater than the warmth of a big plush, half synthetic sweater I was just wearing. I swear to you, I am not lying. That's just hot off the presses right now. So I'm very, very happy to be wearing this sweater because it reminds me of, it gives me a feeling of wealth. It gives my body this feeling of natural fibers and just feeling strong and healthy. So you have to find what it is that works for you. You have to look out there and say, okay, what works for me? What would I like my life to look like? How much money would I like to make every month? If you don't have some kind of target, then you're just wallowing around in, oh, I'd like to be a millionaire. No, that's not how you get there, right? Speaking of which, how do billionaires think? Because one of the great quotes that I received while I've been on this blogging adventure and stepping into something greater, hopefully, I think this is the path to doing that, is to, I've looked at a lot of different quotes, and one of the great quotes is, in order to create what you would like to create, you have to be around the people who are doing what you're doing, right? I think it was J. Paul Getty that said that. And I ran into this wonderful article about our billionaires, and there are 2 billionaires. One was Oprah Winfrey, and the other is Enver Yücel, who I believe is Turkish. At any rate, these are the top 10 that I fell in love with, and I think it's a great way to start the year. Invest in yourself is number 1. This is a very simple concept, but something you would think someone who has made it would stop doing. Not at all for these 2. I saw them both spend a significant amount of time dedicating their resources to self-development, like we're doing right now. This webinar is about self-development, okay? And getting rid of those points of view that keep blocking you around how much more money you could be having, and how much more happiness you could be having, how many more relationships you could be having, et cetera, et cetera. The moment you stop investing in yourself is the moment you have written off future dividends in life. Good advice. 2, be curious about everything. What the average person sees as mundane or overly complicated is not viewed the same way with a billionaire mindset. I once had a 30-minute conversation with Enver about the height of the curbs in Washington, D.C. versus Istanbul, Turkey. Billionaires are incredibly curious what the rest of the world thinks is a problem and complains about. That's what these people go and work on. 3, surround yourself with better people. I hope this is why they kept me around. That's the writer of this article. He said, seriously, I never knew my bosses to keep anyone less than stellar in their inner circle. There were many times I thought to myself, damn, they have dream teams built around them. Jim Rohn had it right. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. To get that, people, choose your friends wisely. Choose your business associates wisely. 4, never eat alone. I do this a lot. I'm gonna have more dinner parties. I used to have them. I'm gonna go back to that. Anyway, take the last time I had dinner with Enver, as well as the last time I ate dinner with Oprah, there were easily 15 people at our tables, respectively. Coincidence? While most of us derive our key information from blogs or the newspaper, power players get their information from the source, from other players directly. However, just because you can't call up the Obamas and break bread with them doesn't mean eating with others in your circle doesn't carry value. And one of my favorite reads of the last few years, called Never Eat Alone, author Keith Ferrazzi breaks down how you can identify information brokers to dine with you. I've seen firsthand how enormous the benefits are of this strategy. Number 5, take responsibility for your losses. I was working for Oprah during the time she was taking heat from the media about her poor network ratings. I was also working for Enver during the closing of one of his prized divisions. What I witnessed them both do in response was powerful. Opposed to covering the losses up with fancy PR tactics, both stepped to the stage and said, in essence, I own it, I'm going to fix it. and dropped the mic. Guess what? They sure did fix things. It's widely noted Oprah's net worth is realizing ratings gold, and Enver's assets have probably doubled since the division's closing. And the 6, understand the power of leverage. This is something that was quite a shock to me. From afar, a billionaire appears to be someone who is a master at everything. But in truth, they're specialists in one or a few areas and average or subpar at everything else. So you see, you don't have to know everything, but you have to, what you are good at, be damn good at it, right? The best way I can describe it, so how do they get so much done? Leverage. They do what they do best and get others to do the rest. They do what they do best and get others to do the rest. They do what they do best and get others to do the rest. Here's a great article on leverage. Keep in mind, I see this done with wealthy people and their money all of the time. They use OPM, other people's money, for most or all of their projects. They use OPM, other people's money, for most or all of their projects. Isn't that interesting? 7, take no days off completely. I recall going on vacation with Enver several times, yachting up and down the southwestern coast of Turkey. Oh my. Sounds ballerific, right? No doubt. We had a great time, but mixed in with all that swimming and backgammon was discussions of business, discussions of strategy, planning, and plotting. The best way I can describe this habit is thinking about your business or your idea like your literal baby. No matter your distance, you don't stop thinking of him or her, okay? 8, focus on experiences versus material possessions. This is another one of these successful habits every entrepreneur can attest to. A matter of fact, entrepreneur.com created a great infographic outlining commonalities of world billionaires, and one of the most prominent was this characteristic. Billionaires are not adverse to risk. Just like getting on this camera right now, I had to take a risk and say, okay, I'm willing to expose myself, to be seen, to talk about the crazy things I do that may seem really weird to a lot of people. But in actuality, there are a lot of people who are very, very interested in this kind of a webinar, in this kind of talk, in talking about living outside of the matrix, okay? What intrigues me even more about Enver and Oprah was that even at their high financial status and success level, they still possessed a willingness to risk their most precious asset, their name and legacy, on new and bolder projects. If you're not taking risks, you're not making moves. People stop sitting in front of the TV, get uncomfortable. Because when you get uncomfortable, you know that you're about to make a breakthrough. Because sometimes it can be really uncomfortable when you step out and do something different, something that you've never done before, okay? Don't go at it alone. That's number 10. Nothing great in life is achieved alone, especially in business. Success isn't a solo act. This character trait is akin to surrounding yourself with better people. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. And that, my friends, is something really, 10 wonderful things to realize, that even, you know, these people who seem so out of reach, who have created enormous wealth, does that make them better than you? No, they had the same tools that you had when you were born. They had the same choices that you had when you were born. They have, in terms of, they had infinite choice, just like you do too. So what are you choosing? Where are you focusing your energy? What are your priorities? If your health is your priority, then maybe that's the first thing you should focus on. First thing in your day, focus on your body first thing in the morning. If it's on finding true love, well, maybe you should be dating as many people as possible, and having a good time with those that you date until you perhaps find the one that clicks with you, fits with you. If it's making more money, then what are you doing? Where would you like to put your energies? Where would you have the most fun? Because actually, using your abilities, using your skills should be fun. And those skills and abilities, what do you know that you can do that can make you a lot of money? Really quite simple, right? Or it seems to be. Now, on that note, I wanted to read this other thing that I got today that I thought was brilliant, and it's written by Marilyn Bradford, who is an Access aficionado and part of the team, the Access team. She teaches right recovery for you if you have any addictions whatsoever. This lady's quite remarkable. Let's see if her website is here. The Bradford System of Right Recovery. You can Google that and you will find her. Okay. All right. So this is for all about the new year. It's a great little article, a great little newsletter, and it says it's entitled to me, Dear Karen, but this is to dear all of you who are listening or who are going to listen now or any time in the future. Have you ever made a New Year's resolution? Were you going to lose 15 pounds, be a better person, work out every day, fight less with your husband or children, get up earlier? Most of us were taught that this was a time we could change things. We could judge what was wrong in our lives and join everyone else in a commitment to improve. How well did your resolutions turn out? If you're like most of us, not so well. Were you bewildered? Did you use this failure to go to more of the wrongness of you? Making yourself wrong really doesn't make it right, people. We have this tendency to judge ourselves. I would ask you all, stop judging yourself. Do what you're going to do, be what you're going to be, shoot for what you'd like to shoot for, and don't judge yourself if it doesn't show up right away. Step by step, inch by inch, or as Gary Douglas likes to say, every 10 seconds, 10 seconds. You can always change your mind, you can always change your path. Everything is possible. It's up to you, but please don't judge yourself. You've been judging yourself for far too long, and has it helped? I mean, honestly, I'm sure it hasn't. What no one told you is that the New Year's resolutions are pretty much doomed from the start. When we judge that there is something wrong with us, we have to end up separating and fighting with what we've judged, which only strengthens the wrongness. By giving judgments energy, we actually make them real and lock them into place, then end up in an ongoing war with ourselves. This is not to say that you cannot make changes. You can always make changes, always. You are never in a no-choice universe. The no-choice universe is all in your head, okay? This trick is to come from an awareness, not a judgment, and ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. You can be aware that your body is larger without deciding that it's horrible, that it's a terrible, bad thing. Then you can ask questions like, okay, I've gained 20 pounds. Now what's going to take to change this? Or, body, what can we be or do different here to create a different body size? Talk with your body, work with your body. You know, it sounds crazy, but I talk to my body all the time, and I say thank you to it for being my partner throughout this whole life. This may seem similar to a resolution, but it actually is very different. We can notice that we have gained weight without making it wrong. In other words, without a judgment. We don't have to judge to change things. We can have preferences without having to change them. Suppose you are the one sleeping late. If you're coming from a judgment, then you might say something like, what a lazy slob I am. Why can't I get it together? God, I'm not getting anything done. I'm not accomplishing anything. Coming from an awareness could look something like this. Okay, this is the better way to change, to think in your mind. Sleeping so late is not a contribution to my life and my business. What can I be or do different here to create a different reality with my sleep patterns? Can you get a sense of the difference in the energy there? By not judging ourselves and not insisting on a particular result, there is space for change to happen. Okay? The only way that you can create that space so that the change can happen is to stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself. Everybody around you does that enough. It is you who has to honor and accept you as yourself. Another reason New Year's resolutions fail is that they are based on someone else's timetable rather than on an awareness of what will work for us at a particular time. So haven't you noticed that there are times when changes seem to come easy and other times when you have to force and struggle? Forcing and struggle are generally signs that you're trying to make something come into existence at a time or place where it's not a good fit. There was a woman who was anxious to move. After telling Gary that the move was to take place the next summer, she asked him how she could change that as she wanted to move sooner. He told her that she could force things and move sooner than her awareness told her, but she would not get what she truly desired in her new residence if she did. So basically, let's say you want to move like this lady and you have a feeling that the best time to move would be the summer, but you want to do it sooner, but it just doesn't feel right. because you don't, if you try and do it sooner, all you're doing is you're forcing the energy. You're pushing something to existence that may not be ready to be. You know, that's what I was telling you about shooting for your targets. You keep shooting and you keep shooting for them, and eventually you'll hit. But sometimes you'll hit sooner and sometimes you'll hit later, depending on your target and depending on what it is that you're going for. Okay, so why is that? Well, we might not get a specific answer. Consider these possible scenarios. The house she desires won't be vacated until next summer. There you go. She will have more money by then and be able to qualify for the house she truly desires. There you go again. So you think that, you know, oh, I want this so bad, but maybe in the interim, in the time frame, something else, something wonderful is going to happen that will make that dream or that target that you're shooting for even better. And who doesn't want even better? So there's your question. How does it get any better than this? Every day, in every way. For everything, when things go bad, when things go great. The universe is listening. Okay. We often can't tell ahead of time specifically why it's expansive to follow an awareness, to follow your gut and not force things. Just that it is. New Year's resolutions require an abandonment of following our awareness in favor of conclusions and decisions, often of someone else's making. So we listen to a lot of people give us advice, but in the end, it's always you that's got to choose. You've got to follow what feels lighter, because usually what feels lighter is going to work for you, and what feels heavy and dense is this. There's something around it that just is not yet ready. Like it's like a dish that's just not ready. It's not fully ready. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what if you were willing to go with what you know, rather than creating a solid, stuck, and concrete decision? If you're aware of something you would like to change, what if you ask questions instead of coming to a conclusion about what the change should look like and how and when it should take place? Might that create more of what you would desire, what you desire in life? Great questions. Love this. A great newsletter to start the new year. And I hope that that newsletter, that it will open doorways for all of you in starting this new year. Every week I will be here to the best of my ability to work with you on expanding your awareness around having greater wealth. And wealth is not necessarily money, quote unquote. Yes, it can show up in money, and we'd like it to show up in money because that's the currency that works in this matrix. But there are also other forms of wealth. There's wealth in friendships. There's wealth in your skills and your abilities that you share, and in your contribution to just being you on this planet. That, my friend, is good as gold, as the expression good as gold. So I want to read this once again before I end today. No matter how much or what I've bought about money, all of the ideas that you've bought, all the point of views that you've bought about money, the seed works. It starts wherever you are and requires only that you water it daily with questions that call that energy to you. Could anything resist your willingness to receive money if you nurtured it every day? What is required to nurture your money seed today? Have you talked to your money? That money, can you imagine that kind of money? How much money would you like to have every month? How much money would you like to see in your bank account every month? And at the end of the year, how much would you like to see in your savings account after all of that money has come in over the year? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Do you do the money dance? I started to do the money dance every day, and I tell you what I do. Okay, so I'm not just talking to the wind here. So I'm like, I do the money dance because it's like, you know, that feeling you get when you like open you get a letter and you open it and there's a check inside and you're like, no, and you scream. You're like, wow, I've got this money. That's the money dance that you want to do. You want to do the colors that are going on. I've got this like little discotheque in my. So you do the money dance, but you do the money dance anytime you just think of all the wonderful things that you'd like to create and feel how it would feel, and you do the money dance, and that has worked for me. Actually, I sold a watch the other day. I sold my dad's watch that had been wanting to sell for a while, and I did it because I called upon the money. Money come, 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 money come. Money come, money come, money come, 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 money come, money come, money come, come, come. Yes, talk to money. Make it your friend. Don't push it away. Don't create blocks to it, okay? They're invisible blocks, but they're there. So everywhere that you keep putting up barriers to money, everywhere that you're unwilling to receive, would you destroy it and create that, please? All right. Times of Godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine. Pop, pop, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And there's the magic wand. All right. So what energy, space, and consciousness can I be to be an ever-expanding source for money for all eternity? Everything doesn't allow that to show up. Times of Godzillion, I destroy and create it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine. Pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now you can say this yourself. Once again, theclearingstatement.com will explain the clearing statement, and you can read it. What energy, space, and consciousness can I be to be an ever-expanding source for money for all eternity? Say that about 30 times a day for the next month, and watch what starts to happen with your money. All right, people. One last thing, it's not just money. What's it going to take for you to be acoustically, vibrationally compatible with gold, silver, money, and anything else that's worth a lot of money? And I leave that with you. Happy New Year. May this year bring you all that you require and desire. And may you be the greatest contribution to this planet and to all of its inhabitants. Everything doesn't allow that to show up. Times of Godzillion. I destroyed and created all. And let's have an amazing year. 1, 2, 3. Whatever that is for you. 1, 2, 3. Whatever that is for you. 1, 2, 3. Be good. See you next week.